This is Daily Gains. Welcome back.
I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Dave. It's time to get it in. Let's get going.
James 1:18. He chose to give us birth through the word of truth, that we might be a kind of first fruits of all he created.
Do you think, Dave, that he's looking back to 1:15, where he started in talking about desire giving birth to sin? Now he's talking about God giving birth to us.
So for me, all of these remind me of the parable of the sower.
Mm-hmm.
And out of that, the different types of fruit that were born. For 3/4 of them, they were not up to par, but the 1/4 that was showing out. I know that often the first fruit is not the best fruit, and yet it is often the one that we celebrate the most because we know what's to come after that.
It's finally here.
Exactly. Like we know what's coming. We've cleared a huge hurdle, especially when you think of the other 3/4 that didn't make it. You've gotten to the place of reproducing now. And so I do believe the gift that we've been given is a special one that changes us for our eternal life. And we are supposed to live out that eternity now. And I do think that's part of what James is really leaning into. Not waiting, but being that first fruit now.
I'm thinking about what you said there.
Because we often take it as far as, the first fruit is I'm going to be raptured first and I'm going to heaven. We often take it as Jesus was resurrected, and so he was the first. And so this, again, is for us to understand that we'll be resurrected as well. And I believe that to be true, but I do believe that there is part of our time now on earth that should be focused on living not solely with a kingdom mindset, but with a first fruits mindset. That I don't have to be perfect. I do need to bear fruit, though.
There is another way to view this. And what you have me thinking of here is that, verse 2, James says, consider it all joy when you encounter trials.
Mm-hmm.
In verse 1, he said to the 12 tribes who are scattered. We know they're scattered again because of persecution.
Mm-hmm.
Trials that they're running into are trials of being persecuted. And James is speaking to them and encouraging and exhorting them to remain strong, to view this time of trial, this time of testing, as one that God is working in them for their good. And he's just reminded us in the previous verse that every good thing comes from God. And now he says, but God caused us to be born to be a type of first fruit. Well, there's another idea that goes along with the first fruit, especially in Hebrew culture. And that's that when you had planted your fields or you planted your orchard and you had the first fruits blossom, you would take those and you would sacrifice them as an offering to God. It was a first fruit offering.
Yep.
And I think that there's a picture here where when James is saying he's called us, he's given birth to us so that we would be a type of a first fruit. I think the whole idea here is, as you say, one of this is to be celebrated because it is bearing fruit. This is growing. There is a harvest that's coming. But in the same way, these first fruits are going to be set aside. They're going to be memorialized. They're going to be sacrificed. They're going to suffer. They're going to be devoted to God. And it's not necessarily in a good way. I mean, when we sacrifice, I love sacrificing raspberries to Raspberry Pi. I don't want to be the raspberry myself. Absolutely.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
I haven't done bacon in my Raspberry Pi, but
you know what I mean. You know exactly what I mean. I do think that this verse challenges us to take the time to examine, to see if there's been any fruit, alone a first fruit. Yeah, I do.
Keeping it light, as always. We are glad you're with us. Tell a friend, make sure they're coming along too. We'll see you soon.